Jesus, who had done no wrong and committed no crime, was assigned the role of a criminal and sentenced to death. He was beaten, his body broken, before he was led to a hill outside the city. And there, lifted up on a cross, the Son of God died a slow and painful death. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. And the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he placed the man that he had made, and from man God made woman. But man and the woman chose to reject God, and in doing so were captured and made subject to both sin and death. But God devised a plan to rescue man, a plan that would be accomplished through the Word. Though the Word was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. And the Word, Jesus, grew from a boy to a man, and he increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. Jesus gathered to himself many disciples who would follow him as he traveled and preached and healed. And of these many, he appointed 12 of them and called them his apostles. They were to accompany him, and he would send them out to preach, giving them authority to cast out demons and to heal every kind of illness and affliction. Among these 12 was Judas Iscariot, who would ultimately betray him. Servants of the religious leaders and the temple guards, led by Judas, came and seized Jesus in a garden named Gethsemane, where he'd gone to pray with his disciples. He didn't resist. Even knowing what was ahead, he went willingly. His enemies took him, and his friends abandoned him, as he was led first before the chief priest and then before the Roman governor, a man named Pontius Pilate. Jesus, who had done no wrong and committed no crime, was assigned the role of a criminal and sentenced to death. He was adorned with a purple robe and a crown of thorns before he was spit on, mocked, and beaten by the Roman guard, before being scourged with a whip interwoven with heavy metal beads and bone barbs. After a few lashes, the cuts would have reached into the muscle tissue. Jesus was given 39 lashes. After this humiliation and torture, he was led, carrying the roughly 125-pound crossbar of his cross, until he no longer could, and a man named Simon was commanded to carry it for him, as he was taken to be crucified at Golgotha, place of the skull. The nails used to pierce the wrists and feet of Jesus would have been 5 inches long. Pain as the hammers drove these nails deeper and deeper would have been excruciating. And there, lifted up on a cross, the Son of God died a slow and painful death.